Yeah. Om Jnana Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmelitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shwaparantikam Vande Ham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Ragunatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanita. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesa Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanu Stuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Panebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Payati Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Sri Gurun Dinatanam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Eshwaram Hare Krishna. So in our previous class, we were discussing about the Stita Pragya, where Arjuna asked Lord Krishna about what are the symptoms of those who are Stita Pragya, or those who are transcendentally situated. And of course, Arjuna asked like different symptoms, like how he walks, how he sits, how he talks. And Krishna answered to those questions. And our today's session will be the continuation of our previous discussion, still in the discussion of Stita Pragya. And at the end, we will conclude how the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita considered to be the summary of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Krishna advises Arjuna to control his senses by following the regulative principles. By doing so, he will attain the mercy of the Lord and be happy. So if we remember that in our previous class, we were ended up in the section where Krishna explains to Arjuna the 8 stages of falling down. It starts from Jayato Vishayam Pumsa Sangaste Supajayate. Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krudo Vijayate Krudat Bhavati Samoha Samoha Smriti Vi Brahma Smriti Brahmsad Buddhi Naso Buddhi Nasad Pranashati. So these are the 8 stages. It starts from Dhyato, means contemplation of sense subject, and once become attached. After that, lust arises. When lust is unfulfilled, so anger comes. Krodat bhavati samoha, and then from anger, delusion arises. Samoha smriti vibrahma, one's memory becomes bewildered. Smriti brahmsat buddhina, so one's loss is intelligence. It's buddhi. Buddhi nasat pranashati. So when the intelligence is lost, pranashati, one falls down again to the material pool. So on that basis, we shall continue our discussion today from text number 64. Translation. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. So here, if we see this picture, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, it is already explained that one may externally control the senses by some artificial process, but unless the senses are engaged in transcendental service of the Lord, there is every chance of a fall. So just like the yogis, for example, of course, in the modern age, the so-called yogis, People are opening yoga centers, this and that, but they are simply concerning with the external purpose of yoga practice. So as devotees, we know clearly what does yoga mean and what is the purpose of practicing yoga. And yoga for us means bhakti yoga, right? But for the people like in the West, so they are performing yoga, it's just gymnastic for the benefit of getting uh, good health, for higher enjoyment, so for better enjoyment. So here the devotees, actually their only concern, Srila Prabhupada in this purport also mentioned that the only concern that the devotees have is just to serve Krishna. So we don't want, you know, like, of course, material things such as wealth is also a necessity, but we are not striving very much for that. Our only concern is that how can I satisfy Krishna? So kamam chadashe natu kama kamyaya yato tamasloka. Kamam chadashe natu kama kama kamyaya yato tamasloka janasyara ratihi. So this is the description of Ambarish Maharaj, Janashraya Ratihi. So he's only Rati. Rati means attraction. So his only attraction and his kama or desire is just to serve Krishna, the Uttama Sloka. Yato Tama Sloka, just to serve Krishna. So that's the symptoms of real, pure devotees, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned in his purport, that his only interest is to please Krishna, because he knows actually uh, only by performance of devotional service one can get real happiness and real peace in mind, and satisfaction also. It is interesting in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is a very nice verse where it is mentioned, Bhakti Parisanu Bhavo Viraktir Anyatra Chaisatrika Ek Kalaha Prapadya Manasya Yatanatashu Tusti Pusti Kshudapayo Nugasam. So this is from 11 canto, chapter 2, text number 42. So if you want to have a look to that verse later, that will be nice for your reference. So this verse explaining that devotional service is compared to eating. Bhakti, parishanu, bhavo, virakti. So when one eat, when one eats, there are three things simultaneously happening, and that is viraktim, anyatra, chaisa, trika, eka, kala, prapadya, manash. Tusti, pusti, and sudapaya. Tusti means satisfaction or happiness. Tusti, pusti means being nourished. The body gets nourishment when one eats. Tusti, pusti, sudapaya. Sudapaya means relief from relief from hunger. Tusti, pusti, sudapaya. So when one eat, one gets satisfaction, happiness, and one gets nourishment, the body being nourished, and one is free from hunger. So similarly, bhakti, parishanu, bhavo, virakti. So when one performs devotional service, one gets happiness, and then parishanu bhava, one gets the direct perception of the presence of the Lord. We feel that yes, Krishna is really reciprocating with me. Just like when we eat, we get the nourishment. So what is the proof of we are eating? So the body get nourished. What is the proof that the tree is maintained nicely and given water on the regular basis, so the tree will become nourished, will be nourished and healthy, growing nicely. So similarly, to stay, what is that? Bhakti parishanu bhavo. Parishanu bhavo means direct perception, direct perception of the Lord. And parishanu bhavo virakti. Virakti means detachment from material affair, mundane thing. So that's actually the test whether we are advancing in our spiritual practice, whether we are advancing in our yoga practice. When we become gradually detached from this material world, that's actually the proof that we are advancing in spiritual activities, in spiritual life. Just like we have fever. So what is the symptom of getting cured from the fever? So the temperature of the body is reduced. So similarly, material disease, this is material fever. So to the degree of our uh, attachment of material thing reduced, so to that degree we should understand, to that degree, that our material fever is cured. Yeah. So this kind of yoga practice is simply a failure. I mean, how long you can restrain yourself just to sit on this posture and restraining the senses? Because you can restrain your senses for some time, but if simultaneously you don't engage your senses in Krishna service, then the senses, because it is the nature, it is our original nature as the spirit soul, first of all, to be always active. And the nature of the senses also always active, and the senses needs to be engaged somehow or other. If your okay, your eyes, your nose, your ear, like you can control it artificially, but what about the mind? The mind will roam here and there, looking for, some object of thought. So like ear also, the ear cannot wait to hear. Cannot wait to hear. You may close your eyes, but to block the ear completely is impossible, even while sleeping. The only senses that active, I'm talking about the gross senses. The only senses which is active when the body is asleep is the ear. That's why when we want to get up for Mangalarati, normally we set up an alarm because the ear is still awake. It's always awake. Ear, the only senses, always awake, and especially actually the right ear. That's why it is advised, if you cannot sleep like straight on your back, so you lay on the left side. So you close this left side, because this left ear also sleep, but the right ear always awaken. That was the explanation. Okay, that's text number 64. And next, here there is a lecture from Srila Prabhupada. In every temple, nice musical sound is going on. If you dare, you sit down for a time and you hear, and you become satisfied. So the ear is satisfied, the eyes are satisfied. Then you take very nice, palatable, I mean to say, food stuff offered to the deity, prasadam, and you are offered the prasadam as remnant. So these arrangements are there, and not only in Brindavan, in every town, still the system is going on. That means our senses, in a different way, we are engaged. They are engaged, spiritually engaged. So Srila Prabhupada making the point here that the senses cannot be artificially controlled, artificially restrained from doing something, but engaging it in a positive activities, in Krishna conscious activities, that's actually will help us to purify our existence. So we see here, like, whenever we go to temple, we get nice darshan of the deities, kirtan going on, katha, and prasadam. So uh, of course, to take darshan is very auspicious, but most important activities when we go to the temple that we have to do is that to hear, to associate with the sadhus, to hear, to inquire, especially if we are grihastas, because we always, most of the grihastas, in my personal experience also as a grihastas, busy in maintaining family members and some material affairs, accumulating some wealth. So most of our time as grihastas, we are spending our time in, let's say, material activities. Of course, as devotees, we have different consciousness uh, with those who are non-devotees, but still, I personally cannot say that we can engage like fully unless if we are really committed. We have commitment to fully surrender to Krishna. So especially the grihasthas, when visiting the temple, we should take the advantage of the presence of the sadhus, of the devotees who are there, and have some katha, listen from them, and also taking prasadam. There is one incident when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was giving a class, Srimad Bhagavatam class in the morning, and there was one gentleman came to the temple offering obeisances to the deities, and like how the Indian normally does, offer obeisances and touching the ear and rotate 3 times and start walking away. Uh, this is I saw also in our ISKCON Mayapur temple. So I don't know why you have to touch your ear. I don't get the explanation. Anyway, and then this gentleman start walking toward the door. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was sitting in the temple hall and start screaming to this gentleman. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that you think you can see Krishna with your eyes. And then this gentleman just stopped, and uh, he was wondering like to whom Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was shouting. So actually Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was shouting at him, and he said that, are you shouting at me? And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, yes. So you must come here. You not don't come to the temple just to take darshan. So you must come here and sit and listen to the katha. That will purify you more, because we cannot see actually Krishna with these material eyes. So we have to hear. We have to see Krishna through our ear. How to see Krishna through our ear? Yes, it is possible. Just like Narad Muni was uh, describing Krishna's personality, Krishna's quality to Rukmini. So Rukmini never seen Krishna before in her life, but upon hearing Narada Muni's description about Krishna, she becomes attracted by Krishna. So she can see actually Krishna through hearing process. So this is also should be our realization that coming to the temple not only for taking darshan, of course taking darshan is very auspicious, very nice thing to do, but more important to simply taking darshan is that to hear the katha, to hear from the sadhu. Bhavad vida bhagavata stirtha bhuta swayam vibhu tirti kurvanti tirtani swantasthena gadavrita. So the body of the devotees, it is described that just like the tirtha bhuta swayam, just like a holy place. So by touching the body of the devotees, we get purification. By seeing the devotees, we get purification. By serving the devotees, there is a nice verse. What is it? I forgot where it comes, this verse, but recently I read this verse and I happened to memorize it. It is mentioned that aksno palam aksno palam drishtava darsanam hi tano palam drishtavam gatra sangaha jiva palam drishtava kirtanam hi sudulabha bhagavata hi loke. So I will find the reference, the exact reference from it is not from the Srimad Bhagavatam, but it is described that uh, what is that, the first one? Aksno palam drishtava darsanam hi. So simply by seeing the devotees, we get the perfection of our eyes. So our eyes will get perfected by seeing the devotees. And then tano palam drishtava gatra sangha. So by touching the lotus feet of the devotees and associating with the devotees, Gatra Sangha, Sotano, the sense of perception, the sense of touch uh, will get purified and attain the perfection. So how to perfect the sense of touch is by associating with the devotees, touching the devotee's body. And then jihva palam drishtawa kirtanamhi. And when we glorify the good qualities of the devotees, so our tongue attain perfection. Sudurlabha Bhagavata Hiloke, because Bhagavata refers to Krishna and also the devotees. Sudurlabha Bhagavata Hiloke. Sudurlabha means very rare. Hiloke. In this world, to meet the devotees of the Lord is actually a very rare opportunity. Sudurlabha Bhagavata Hiloke. It is, one out of millions probably. Yeah, it is very rare. That's why we should always appreciate the presence of the devotees. Of course, here, like in Mayapur, being a conditioned fallen soul, I don't take full advantage being in the association of the devotees, because even sometimes meeting with the devotees, we don't pay so much attention because devotees are all over, all around. Here in Mayapur, everybody is devotee. But when I was in Cambodia, for example, there was no single devotee. There was no single devotee. When a devotee comes from another country just to visit us, like for a short while, we feel like so jubilant. We feel like really enlightened. We feel like very blissful just to meet the devotees. It happens that uh, when I was doing Harinam in Siem Reap town in Cambodia, so with my friend, two of us, and then somehow or other, on the way back to our temple after the Harinam, we met accidentally. We met somebody who's wearing kantimala, tulasi mala. He's not really devotee, this guy, but he's an Indian. And then he smiled at us, and then we just say Hare Krishna. When this person said Hare Krishna, we feel like, whoa, we are meeting devotees here. We feel like that's something wow. It's very rare to see people in Cambodia, for example. In Cambodia, somebody who's wearing kantimala, that's something great to see. So that is the should be our uh, consciousness, that always taking full advantage while being in the association of the devotees, hearing from them, associating with them. Tulayama lavenapi na swarga na punarbhava bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kim udasisa. So tulayava, lave. Lava means a very short while. This verse, if you see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sadhu Sangha verse, where it is mentioned, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha. So Srila Prabhupada, in his purport, he gave only one line, just explaining what lava means. Srila Prabhupada writes, lava, the word lava means 1/11 second. So 1 second divided into 11th, that is lava. So tulayama lavenapi, simply a slight moment of associating with the devotees, one can get perfection in life. Na swarga, na punarbhava. So the benefit of associating with the devotees cannot be compared by na swarga, attainment of heavenly planet, na punarbhava, not even liberation. Martyanam kim utasisaha, and what to speak of material wealth, which is meant to be given up when we giving up this body. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, next text number 65. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well establish. Mm. So, this is from the Saranam to me. Without bhakti, regardless of what one possesses or what one does, no one is satisfied. As we see in the example of Srila Vyasadev's lamentation in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva had compiled the Vedas, added the Puranas, and composed the Mahabharata. Yet, because he had not emphasized bhakti, he remained dissatisfied in mind. It's like Srila Vyasadeva, we find this example in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that what is the purpose of Vyasadeva writing the Mahabharata? For whom he writes the Mahabharata, Srila Vyasadeva? For whom he writes? Anybody would like to answer to that? If you read the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you will find the glimpse, just why he writes the
For,
Mahabharata. Yes.
for women, Sudras and Vyasas.
Mm,
Vaishyas.
yeah, exactly. So it is described that Striyo Vaishas Tata Sudras, these three categories. Striyo means women, Striyo Vaishas, the Vaishas, and Sudras. They are considered to be less intelligent in the society. Okay, and Srila Vyasadeva compiled this Mahabharata for their benefit, for those who are less intelligent, because Mahabharata is a narration, and within the narration, so the Bhagavad Gita is spoken, and that's the essence of Mahabharata, is the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, Krishna and Arjuna. Just like when we teach kids, for example, when we teach children, so we cannot give them philosophy. They will feel boring and they cannot understand philosophy, especially high philosophy. They cannot understand it very easily. So one way to teach children Krishna consciousness philosophy is through story, because the children, they loves to hear story. So while giving a story, we have to smuggle, we have to insert some philosophical aspect. So like Vyasadeva, he compiled Mahabharata, and inside Mahabharata we find the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita narration of how Krishna giving instruction to Arjuna. We find also in the Srimad Bhagavatam in many places, like when Hiranyaksha died, killed by by Varahadev. So the wives of Hiranyaksha, they were crying, they were lamenting. And Hiranyakasipu came and tried to pacify them. Oh, why you are crying? Why you are crying? The one Hiranyaksha, your husband is still here. Why you are crying? The body is still here. Why you are crying? But still, come. Hiranyakasipu could not pacify the wife of Hiranyaksha. So what Hiranyakasipu did is that he narrated a story about how Yamaraj, uh, he was disguising as a small kid. So there was a battle. There was one king. I forgot the king's name, but this king was killed in the battle, and then his wives was crying. His wife were crying for the king's death, and then Yamaraj, in disguise of a small boy, he came to this battlefield and tried to pacify the wife of this king. So similarly, in this way, Hiranyakasipu, he tried to pacify the wife of Hiranyaksha by narrating a story in which actually inside that story there is a kind of philosophy, moral instruction, that actually the body is still there, the soul is gone, and the soul is eternal. Death means the changing of the body. So he's actually eternal. The soul is eternal. So why you are crying? There's no need for crying. the soul will take another body, a fresh body, by which he can enjoy more. So in that way, Hiranyakasipu pacified the wives of Hiranyaksa. We find also in the 9th canto, if you read the narration of who is that, Yayati, King Yayati, how he narrates the story to Devayani, his wife, about he goat and a she goat. Very interesting that how a he goat met the she goat in the in the forest when the she goat fell down inside into a well. Actually, he was narrating his own story, but he simply changed himself to be a he goat and Devayani to be a she goat. Ultimately, the instruction given by Yayati to Devayani is that ultimately we have to be detached and take to the level of vanaprastha. So similarly, Mahabharata is compiled by Vyasadeva for those who are less intelligent, such as women, Sudra, and the Vaishyas. But still, after compiling this, Vyasadeva still didn't feel satisfied. Why? We see that the Bhagavad Gita, the essence of Bhagavad Gita is bhakti. We are, we will be talking a lot about bhakti, especially started from the, this section is about bhakti actually, and especially in the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, full of bhakti, 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 bhakti. But why Srila Vyasadeva still didn't feel satisfied, although he's actually already giving bhakti to the society in general? Anybody would like to comment on that? What is missing in his creation, Srila Vyasadeva creation? Therefore, Narad Muni
He
appeared and instructed him to write the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, Nagarjun Prabhu, sorry.
he doesn't describe about the bhaktas like devotees.
Yeah, exactly. So here in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we find the narration of bhakti, the description of bhakti. One must perform bhakti, one must surrender to Krishna. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is not talking about the philosophical aspect that we have to surrender to Krishna, but also the pastimes, the gopis, the gopas, Krishna's friend, Mother Yasoda, Deva, who is that? Devaki, Nanda Maharaj. So when we talk about Krishna, we cannot separate Krishna from his devotees. Just like when we cannot perfectly glorify Sri Ramchandra without glorifying Hanuman also, or Lakshman. We cannot glorify perfectly Narayan without glorifying Lakshmi Devi. So similarly, like when we talk about Nrsingadev's pastimes, so it is a natural thing that Prahlad's picture will come into the pastime. So similarly, when we talk about devotional service, when we talk about Krishna, so Krishna bhaktas should be there also, will automatically there. So that was something missing. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, the next verse, text number 66. Translation: one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. How can there be any happiness without peace? So first of all, we have to come to the state of being peaceful, then we can become happy. So what is peace formula that Srila Prabhupada talks about in the purport? He gives the gist of the peace formula. Anybody would like to respond to that? What is the peace formula? Those who have not spoken since beginning.
One who neither rejoice or nor lament when he lose something, or nor he neither rejoice when he receives something.
What is that verse? Yeah, that's
Na
true.
shochati na kanchati.
Yeah, na sochati na kansati sama sarve subhutesu mad bhaktim lagat. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. And I'm looking for a specific thing that Srila Prabhupada mentioned in his purport. So please read his purport now. I give you 2 minutes. Still, Anandamoy Prabhu, your answer is correct, but I'm looking for something more specific that Srila Prabhupada mentioned in his purport. So 2 minutes from now, you can have a look to Srila Prabhupada's purport 2.66. Okay, anybody found it? It is right there in the beginning of his purport.
Yeah, he's saying the one who is in Krishna consciousness is a peaceful.
What is the peace formula?
Krishna
Saying
consciousness.
Krishna is the enjoyer.
Okay, that's one. There are 3 things actually.
So
You see
Krishna is
the
the enjoyer. When one is certain that Krishna is enjoyer, is a proprietor and friend of everyone.
Yeah, here we see in the chat, Venkata Prabhu give this verse. Actually, Srila Prabhupada mentioned there, chapter 5.29, the last verse of chapter 5, Bhaktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Shuhridam Sarvabhutanam Yatvamam Santim Richati. So these 3 things. Bhaktaram Yagyatapasam, Krishna is the benefactor of all sacrifices. He's the supreme enjoyer. And then Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he's the proprietor of the whole planet. And Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, Krishna is the well-wisher of all living entities. So when one knows this, Gyatva Mam, when one knows this, Santim Richati, he can attain peace in his life. Yeah, here it is. So Srila Prabhupada gave, actually in his purport, the reference. Nice. Finally, I got all of you to squeeze your brain a little bit. Okay, Krishna, Krishna, and Krishna. See, here it is. So I don't give the translation, but I translate using pictures. It's easy. Krishna is the enjoyer of all sacrifice. He's the proprietors of the whole planet, whole universe, and he's the well-wisher as the Paramatma within our heart. So when we know this fact, then naturally it will be followed by nasochati nakansati, as you mentioned earlier, Anandamoy Prabhu. So we don't hanker for something that we don't have, and we don't lament for something that we lose. Because after all, everything is belong to Krishna, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So if I don't get something, that means I'm not deserved. And if I lost something, that means we understand that actually nothing belonged to me. I never have anything. Everything belonged to Krishna. So there is no reason for us to lament. Na sochati na kansati. Thank you very much. Yeah. Therefore, the proposal of Prabhupada mentioned, therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and without peace. However much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness is self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. So I found this very interesting picture. A phone is useless without a battery, and a battery is useless if it is not connected with charger. This is an analogy. Similarly, our body is useless without a soul, and soul is totally useless if we are not connected with Krishna. So I find it relevant. Somebody sent me on WhatsApp, so I put it here. So our existence, this body is useless without soul, because without soul, this body is simply a dead matter. And the soul is useless if the soul is not connected to Krishna. Just like, because we are part of Krishna. Mama Ivamso Jiva Loke Jiva Buddha Sanatan. We are part of Krishna, just like my hand is part of my body. If my hand is disconnected with this body, then this hand is useless. Text number 67. Translation: as a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. So we have discussed this in the text number 62 and 63. First, we are contemplating upon the sense object. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambarish, all of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, for that is the correct technique for controlling the mind. Controlling the mind. Ambarish Maharaj. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayor. He always think of Krishna's lotus feet. Krishna also mentioned in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto. In fact, he mentioned that twice actually. In the 18th chapter also he mentioned Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto. Keep your mind engaged in thinking about me. So when we give the chance for one of the senses, give the chance for the eyes, for the ear or mind, whatever, to capture a sense object, then just like this verse mentioning that, just like a boat in the water, so being tossed here and there. So our intelligence will be defeated actually, because the senses is very strong. What is that? Yeah, in the 9th canto also, Srimad Bhagavatam, King Yayati give the instruction to Devayani, his wife. What is that? Balavan Indriya Gramo Vidwam Samapikarsati. Matra Swasra Duhitrava Na Vivikta Sano Bhavet Balavan Indriya Gramo Vidwamsam Apikarsati. So he mentioned that Matra means mother. Matra Swasra means sister. Matra Swasra Dvitrava and daughter. Na Vivikta Asano Bhavet. One should not sit together on the same seat. Ashano. Na Vivikta Ashano. One should not sit together very closely with his mother, with his sister, and his daughter. Balawan Indriya Gramo. Bala means very strong. Balawan Indriya Gramo. The Indriya, the senses, are very strong. Vidwam Sam. Vidwam means those who are intelligent. Vidwam Sam Apikarsati. Even those who are aware of philosophy, those who are very intelligent, they may get attracted by sexual desire because the senses is very strong. They know philosophy. That's why many sometimes we find also ourselves in such a circumstances that we know philosophy, but why I'm still deviating. Balawan Indriya Gramo, because the senses are very strong. For example, simple example. Let's take a very simple example. Like we should eat only prasadam, food offered to Krishna. We shouldn't eat something which is not offered to Krishna. But we see, first of all, we understand this is our philosophy. Okay, we should eat only Krishna prasadam, and we shouldn't eat whatever not offered to Krishna. But sometimes we end up by eating something which is not offered to Krishna. For example, like ice creams or potato chips, like Lay's. we find this we find this because the senses is very strong, and especially when we are trying to justify our situation. For example, like traveling. Oh, traveling, there's no much option, nothing to eat. Okay, it's actually a justification to gratify our senses. Yeah, sometimes this is happened to us. We know the philosophy, but why are we still deviating? Because Balawan Indriya Gramu, the senses are very strong. So the senses very strong and can defeat the intelligence. A man's intelligence will carried away, will swayed by the wave of material desire. But later, toward the end, we will see that something, what is that? Nakamakami, Apuryamana Machala Pratistam, Samudra Mapa Pravisanti Advat Kamayam Pravisanti Sarve, Sasanti Mapnoti Na Kamakami. How a devotee can tolerate the material desire. So we'll talk about that more later. Okay, how many of us here? We are 5 of us here. I want to give you some small exercise. So let's see. There are 5 of you here. Okay, I want each of you read one verse. I will just give you. Okay, I will start with Anandamoy Gauranga. You can read text number 68. So you will read the verse and the purport, and you share what you understand, what your realization, because I don't want to talk alone. Okay, I want to hear also from all of you. So Anandamoy Gauranga, you will read text number. I'll give you 5 minutes. Okay, don't worry. I just give you the verse now. Anandamoy Gauranga, you read text number 68, and then Chaturatma Prabhu, text number 69, Vishnu Chitta Prabhu, text number 70, Nagarjun Prabhu, text number 71, and Venkata Prabhu, text number 72. So in that way, we will complete the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So you can start from now. I'll give you 5 minutes, and then we will start from Anandamoy Gauranga Prabhu to share his realization on the text number 68, and then continued by other devotees. Okay, Hare Krishna. 5 minutes from now. Can I just play some soft bhajan? Let's see what available here. One more minute. Okay, so Anandamoy Prabhu, are you ready to share your realization to all of us, to give us some enlightenment for advancement of our Krishna consciousness?
I don't know advancement, but I can speak for my purification.
Please. So text number 68.
268. Prabhupada is talking about, the shloka says, from the sense object, then one becomes a steady intelligence. Prabhupada is speaking about few things. First is the goal is not to control senses, but to engage in loving service. Then, like Prabhupada gave example, enemy is covered by a superior force. Then Prabhupada said that one who understand this and should be practice this under bona fide guidance. So when Prabhupada said that one should not curb the forces of sense gratification only by own endeavor. So those who does it by own endeavor, they are called these yogis. So they end up in Brahma Jyoti. Then second point I notice is when Prabhupada is saying that engage in Krishna service, then Krishna's strength is there. In other shlokas, like other purpose, Prabhupada says, is Krishna Shakti. Krishna Shakti bina aar nahi parivartan. Without Krishna's given strength, there is no transmission of the heart. So it's by Krishna's strength is it happens. Then goal is not to curb the senses, what I notice. like we say sambandha abhidya prayojana. So sambandh is to establish relation with Lord, not to control senses. So it should not be mistaken that controlling my mind is my goal in Krishna consciousness. 10 years, 20 years past already struggling with the mind. This is not the goal. Abhidya, sambandh is a relation with the Lord. Abhidya is loving service of the Lord. Prabhupada says here. Not just sadhana bhakti, but the loving service means raganuga means by the out of affection, favorably. So over one place Prabhupada says that out of fear, devotional service executed just takes one to Vaikuntha. Even one worship Krishna, it still only goes up till Vaikuntha. That's why Prabhupada repeated many times, loving, 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 this word, loving service. Then he says, under the guidance of the spiritual master, not independently.
Right.
Like we have four sampradaya and we have Brahmada Gaudiya Vaishnava sampradaya. So one should not think that he can advance without guru, without blessing, because bhakti is only given. Bhakti is not by endeavor. Like other things can be, other process like jnana karma are by endeavor. But bhakti is not by endeavor, is only on, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, is only by the mercy. So effort is to get Lord's mercy, but we are not getting by our own will. Bhakti comes by its own desire to bless the living entity. His bhakti is independent. So that's why Prabhupada said, under the guidance of spiritual master, not by one's effort, independent effort.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Very interesting and enlightening. Were there any question from other devotees that you want to ask from Ananda Moy Goranga Prabhu regarding text number 68? Any question? If no question, I think I have small thing to ask to Ananda Moy Goranga Prabhu. So Prabhu, thank you very much for your sharing your realization. Yeah, I heard also that from that Srila Vishwanath Thakur mentioned that bhakti is not something that we can gain by our own endeavor, but bhakti is given only by Krishna through his devotees. That's a nice point. Another thing is that you made a point that when we serve Krishna out of fear, that means out of reverence, right? Full of reverence, awe and reverence. So our destination will be Vaikuntha. That's why Srila Prabhupada mentioned love, love, love. So do you think, how you reconcile this? Do you think that in Vaikuntha, the devotees there, they don't have love for Krishna, or they simply feels like being forced to serve Krishna? How you reconcile this? How you explain this?
Thank you, Prabhu. Your question will reflect what I supposed to speak. So Vaikuntha is not they go out of fear, but it's Ashwarya Bhav Bhakti, means they worship Krishna, not Krishna, is a Vishnu's different incarnation, but there's a with the opulence. It is not selfless bhava. Prabhupada says that Rup Goswami says most selfless bhava is a gopi bhava, and we follow the mood of the gopis. And so that means most selfless. So Vaikuntha, there is Ashwarya, some attachment to the Ashwarya of Krishna. But when Prabhupada says loving means ready to give up everything and anything for Krishna. So that is a mood of Brajvasis. So Prabhupada came to give us Brajvasi mood. Mahaprabhu came for Brajvasi mood. So out of fear, I mean, when we do sadhana, of course, we have to practice sadhana bhakti. It is not automatically that we don't do anything and we just become like Sahajya, or we have developed some love. No. Sadhana is that by practice of sadhana, we develop some attachment gradually. First, it's difficult to wake up Mangalarti, but then we like it, and then we get attached to it, we voluntarily go. That's how it converts. Okay, is this answers? I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I think that's answering my question. Thank you very much. So next we can move to the text number 69. who is taking that? I think Chaturatma Prabhu. Yeah, you can share your realization to the text number 69. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, please.
In this text 69, there in the purport there is mentioned that at night, when the all living entities, especially the materialistic people, they sleep and dream, at that time the self-realized person or the introspective sages awakening.
Mm.
Okay. Especially this is especially at the morning, at the when Mangala is time, then the self-realized person do their jobs, their duties performing. At that time, the materialistic people is sleeping. Okay, Prabhu.
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And at the time when the materialist at the night, when they're awakening, but the self-realized person, they are sleeping at that time. As they have to wake at the 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Okay, Prabhu.
Nice.
And this is actually mentioned. I can't advance.
Okay. Thank you very much. So the translation for text number 69 is that what is night for all beings is the time of awakening for self-control, and the time of awakening for all being is night for the introspective sage. So Chaturatma Prabhu, he gave nice example about the Mangalarati. So when the materialistic people still sleeping at that time, so the devotees we get up for Mangalarati. And then the time of awakening for all beings is night for introspective sage. That means when during the day, the time of awakening means when the materialistic people, the normal people, they are busy in gratifying their senses, they are busy in working. So we are actually in deep meditation. So whether any question that all of you would like to ask from Chaturatma Prabhu regarding text number 69, you are welcome before we continue to the next text. Any question regarding text number 69? Yeah, I think this verse is clear in itself. You see here, I put this picture illustration, the devotees versus non-devotees. So when all living beings sleeping means the materialistic sleeping. So the devotees, they remain awakened, means they remain engaged in Krishna consciousness. And during the day when people are busy in working, gratifying their senses, so the devotees remain absorbed, remain in full meditation, performing sadhana bhakti. It's nice pastimes when Srila Prabhupada still present in the planet. So Srila Prabhupada was translating the Srimad Bhagavatam and giving his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. At that time happened to be 11:30 at night. So everybody was sleeping except Srila Prabhupada and his servant Srutakirti Prabhu. So Srutakirti Prabhu noticed that Srila Prabhupada's light still on in his room. So he just wanted to check whether Srila Prabhupada forgot to switch it off. And he peeped actually, because Srila Prabhupada opened his door slightly. And he was peeping through that door, and Srila Prabhupada noticed that Srutakirti Prabhu was there, and Srila Prabhupada called him. So please come here. And Srutakirti Prabhu, he came inside, offered the obeisances, and Srila Prabhupada asked him, okay, now you sit here and you chant. So Srila Prabhupada continued writing. And Sudhakirti Prabhu said, well, Srila Prabhupada, it's time for me to sleep now. And then Srila Prabhupada said, oh, sleep? It's just 11:30 at night. Sudhakirti Prabhu said, yes, Prabhupada, I need to sleep because tomorrow I have to get up early in the morning for Mangalarati. Prabhupada said that I also will get up for Mangalarati. You are young man. You are young man. Look at me. I am very old. I'm still working very hard for Krishna. So that was one of the beautiful pastimes of Srila Prabhupada that reflect me when we read this verse. Okay, if there's no questions on this text, we can continue. Text number 70. Who should take this verse? Nagarjun Prabhu, you should take this verse. You're supposed to take this one.
You're given 71.
Oh, okay. So, oh, Vishnu Chitta Prabhu, but he left. Actually, he wrote to me that he can attend the meeting only for 1 hour because he has some other engagement. Okay, so I will take this text number 70. Oh, this is one small purport, part of Srila Prabhupada's purport to the text number 69. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by material reaction. Okay, this is the verse. Apuryamanam achala pratistam samudramapa pravisanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravisanti sarve sasantim apnoti na kama kami. So this is actually an analogy given by Sri Krishna. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled, but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desire. So we can understand from this verse, actually, peace can be obtained when we are free from material desire. When we are free from material desire, then we can attain peace. Why we are in full anxieties? Because we have a lot of material desire. We have a lot of plans how to gratify our senses. This plan for tomorrow, that plan for next week, this plan, another plan for next month, next year. And we will be always in anxiety thinking of that plan because we are overwhelmed by our material desire. But if we are free from material desires, then there's no more anxieties, no more fear, no more anxieties in life. Because after all, we just go with the flow, whatever Krishna arranged for us. And when we free from material desire, we free from anxieties, we attain peace in our mind. That's how actually we can perform Krishna consciousness nicely. Of course, while being in Krishna consciousness, sometimes our mind also disturbed by so many things, but we should continue. By continuing practicing Krishna consciousness activities, engagement, service to Guru and Krishna, actually, gradually we get purification and peace will come automatically. And when peace comes to our life, our mind become peaceful because we have cure ourselves up to some degree from material desire. Then we can perform Krishna consciousness activities nicely. So these two things between Krishna consciousness activities and peace, they're actually interconnected. They are interconnected between peace and Krishna consciousness activities. And then when we attain peace, we perform Krishna consciousness activities nicely. And as we are performing Krishna consciousness activities, naturally the material desire will be subdued and peace will come. So it's interconnected. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, oops, so just here. As the ocean is always being filled by rivers, but remains steady and not agitated, a person fixed in Krishna consciousness remain undisturbed even amidst the incessant flow of desires. So desires, material desire is natural for conditioned living entities. Why we have material desire? Because we have material senses. Because we have material senses, therefore material desire comes. And what is that desire? To gratify the senses. But once the senses is being purified, as Rupa Goswami explained, Sarvo Padi Vinir Mukta Tat Parat Vena Nirmalam Rizikena Rizikesam Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. So Rishikena Rishikesam Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. So devotional service means engaging our senses to serve the master of the senses, Rishikesh, Krishna, the master of the senses. And two things are happening here. Sarvo Padi Vinir Mukta. First, our false designation will be vanquished. False designation means I'm uh, even when we think I'm a brahmachari, that's actually a designation. Or I'm a temple president, or I am such and such, I'm a president, I am a leader, I'm a father, I'm this and that. This is called designation. So when we engage ourselves in Krishna's service, so the false designation will be vanquished, and that is called false ego. And then the real ego is we are Krishna's servant. So we have clear idea of our position. That's first thing. And then the second thing is that tat parat vena nirmala. So all the senses will become purified. So remember why material desire comes to our life? Because we have material senses. Okay. And when the senses is purified, or purified, becoming pure, no longer material, then there's no more material desire. The desire comes, is that desire to serve Krishna. So when the material desire comes, we just ignore it. Just ignore it, like the wind, blowing of the wind. Okay, it just pass. Don't worry, don't think too much about that desire. Just keep chanting Hare Krishna, keep engaged in devotional service. That desire will go on. Don't pay so much attention. Of course, it's easy to say, don't pay so much attention. But this is need practice. Therefore, we are called sadhakas, because we are still practicing. We are not in the raganuga bhav yet. Of course, that should be our aspiration, to attain such a high level in the raganuga, where we can engage naturally, spontaneously. So no more material desire. Of course, material desire as long as we are in the material world. Even when we are in the position of Brahma, even Brahma also, in the beginning of creation, before the creation, in the second canto, we find this narration when Lord Krishna appeared in the front of Brahma before the creation, after Lord Brahma performing 1000 celestial years of tapasya. So Lord Krishna appeared, and actually Lord Krishna blessed Lord Brahma with realized knowledge. Not simply knowledge, but a realized knowledge. So Lord Brahma prayed that may I always engage in your service. May I will not be overcome by pride, because I will be the second creator of this universe. He creates the whole planetary system. So that was Lord Brahma's prayer. He was asking Lord Krishna that please protect me from Maya. That's basically what he asked. But later on we find that when Vagdevi appeared, when he created Vagdevi, Saraswati, so Lord Brahma becomes agitated and run after her. So Lord Brahma also gets material desire. it is described that Brahma's body is made only intelligent, not gross like our body, but his body is very subtle, made only intelligent. But even then, also because he's still in the material realm, he gets material desire also. He was overwhelmed by lusty desire. But our principle is that just try to tolerate that. Tam titiksa swabharata. Krishna means in Arjuna. Tam titiksa swabharata. Just tolerate. Okay, any question from this text, number 70? Otherwise, we can continue with Nagarjun Prabhu, who will give his realization on the text number 71. Hare Krishna. This is the translation. You can read that, the translation, Nagarjun Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. The translation is: a person who has given up all desires for the sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. So in this verse we can find that we should be desirelessness, but actually our nature is desire. We are always desire. Our senses always want to desire something. They are like snakes. So it's very difficulty to control the senses. But by engaging our senses in the Krishna service, we can control our senses. Like in the previous verse, the Prabhu mentioned that Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam. Hrishikena Hrishikesa Sevanam Bhaktiruttama. So we have to engage our senses in the service of the Lord. Uh, Otherwise, it's very difficult to control our senses. Actually, desire means our sense gratification only. So desireless means not to anything for the sense gratification. That is the desirelessness. If you can take the context of Bhagavad Gita here, first Arjuna didn't want to fight in the battle, but for the satisfaction of Krishna, he is doing the battle. We can say here Arjuna is desireless, but he is doing the battle just to for the satisfaction of Krishna.
Very nice.
Like we can in the previous classes, Prabhuji mentioned about. Prabhuji already mentioned Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe. We had to engage everything in the service of the Lord. Actually, in this world, as nothing is belongs to ours, even our body or our money or anything is not belongs to our. So we are just caretakers only. Our only desire is to how can we serve the Krishna? How can we satisfy Krishna? That is the only our desire. But this desire is desirelessness. So desirelessness means how we can having a desire that how I can satisfy the Krishna. That is our real desirelessness. So if you can speak about Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe, so in some Falgu Vairagya people, they won't take anything, they give up everything, they live in a normal simple life, they take only small roti like that. But Krishna devotee, he take everything for Krishna. Like he always think that how I can use this in the service of Krishna. Like currently we are using a Zoom technology. we are using for a Krishna's purpose. And he can see everything as a same value, like he can see a stone as a same value and gold as a same value, but he see as a how I can use this as a service for Krishna. So actually the real desirelessness means how having a desire that how I can satisfy the Krishna. This is the real desireness. Yes. And by this this is the real Krishna consciousness. So by understanding this principle, we can get the real peace. This is my understanding, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Very clear. Thank you so much. Were there any questions from other devotees? Otherwise, we can continue to the last verse. Okay, if there is no question. Now, Venkata Prabhu, it's your turn. Hare Krishna. You can read aloud the translation first. Yeah, here
Yes.
on the screen.
That is the way of the spiritual and the godly life. After attaining which, sorry, I'm reading from the. Sorry. That is the way of the spiritual and the godly life. After attaining which into the kingdom of God. So my English is not English. Please forgive for
we are
my.
not assessing your English. Don't worry.
So here, what I understood with the blessings of all the Vaishnavas is, here the Lord is discussing about the Brahmi Sthiti. So this.
Okay, he got disconnected. I cannot hear his voice clearly also. No, he's still there. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Venkata Prabhu. I think you have some connection problem. We cannot hear you clearly.
I came out of my actually. So Brahmins, what the Brahmins is another other that I don't know exactly, but for attaining the Brahmistiti, Krishna was explaining in that verse is that to when we get freed from all anger and with all kinds of material desires not related to Krishna, related to and self-discipline and who is constantly practicing for the perfection of his consciousness or devotional service, he will be surely attaining the Brahmistiti in the future. I remember that Kama, Krodha, Vimuktestu, some beginning of that verse. So here Prabhupada is giving the example about Katvanga Maharaja, who got an opportunity to get liberated from this material world 24 minutes from his death time. His name Katvanga Maharaja. So he helped the demigods under the plan of the Lord. So so after helping the demigods, he got boon from the demigods. They offered the boon to take any boon. So he asked for the liberation. Since they are demigods, they are not offered the liberation state. So they asked. They gave another opportunity to ask another boon. So he asked when I will get the death. They told you will be getting the death within 24 minutes. So at that time they were fighting with the demons in the spiritual this upper planetary system. He asked them to get him to the material, this middle planetary on the earth. So meanwhile, the 12 minutes from the 24 minutes have gone. So he, with the mercy and the intention of the intention of his pure intention behind serving the Lord with demigods, he got an opportunity to focus, concentrate on Lord him itself. So he got liberated. So essence of this verse is, it is a matter of putting our efforts with pure intentions. That's all, bro. Sorry if I speak
Thank
anything,
you.
forgive me.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, especially with the narration of Katanga Maharaj. Yeah. If you want more elaborate story about Katanga Maharaj, you can read that in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the 2nd canto, also Srila Prabhupada touches little bit in his purport about the life of Katanga Maharaj. Thank you very much, Venkata Prabhu, for sharing your understanding and realization. So yeah, were there any question from other devotees on this text? Okay, if there is no question, I just want to wrap up our today's class by Srila Prabhupada's purport here. So, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, attainment of Krishna consciousness, even during this life, is immediately attainment of Brahman. And one who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God. So what we understand is that Jivan Mukta sa uchate ihayasya haridasya karmana manasa gira nikila swapyavastasu Jivan Mukta sa uchate. Rupa Goswami explained that even if one still in the material body, in the material world, if one engages himself in Hari Dasya, in the service of Lord Hari, Jivan Mukta sa uchate. So he's liberated. So as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, that one who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God. Yeah, here. Why the 2nd chapter is the summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. This is the reason. Srila Prabhupada quoting Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur here. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has summarized the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as being the content for the whole text. In the Bhagavad Gita, the subject matters are Karma Yoga. So this is the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga. And Gyan Yoga, the last 6 chapters. And Bhakti Yoga is the middle 6 chapters from 7 to 12. 7 to 12. Correct? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes. That's what Bhakti. In the 2nd chapter, Karma Yoga and Gyan Yoga have been clearly discussed, and a glimpse of Bhakti Yoga has also been given as the content for the complete text. So, Karma Yoga we find in the 2nd chapter from text number 31 to 38. That's when Krishna explained to Arjuna that you must perform your duty. By performing this duty, then you can get enjoyment, elevation to the heavenly planet. And moreover, karma yoga described that karma niyeva dikaraste ma phalesu kadachana. Don't ever get used to giving up your duty. Karma niyeva dikaraste. You have the right to perform your duty. You must do your duty. Ma phalesu kadachana, and the result, just let me manage the result. Na karma pala hetu. You are not entitled with the fruits of your activities. So that's actually already entering to the Buddhi Yoga, using one's intelligence. Detached work is called Buddhi Yoga. So that's Karma Yoga. And then Gyan Yoga we find in the text number 11 to 30, when Krishna talks about the eternity of the soul, or the Atma Tattva Gyan. This is called Atma Tattva Gyan or Sankhya Yoga. So from text 11 to 30, we find this Gyan Yoga. So Srila Prabhupada, many times he mentioned that unless this knowledge about the soul, this realization that we are not the body is there, so there is no question of starting spiritual life. So the foundation of spiritual life is that first of all, we have to know that we are spirit. Then we can practice spiritual life. If we don't realize, we don't understand that we are spirit, then there is no meaning of performing spiritual activities. And then bhakti is already in this section, and in the previous class we were talking about bhakti stita pragya. There in this section, Krishna explains to Arjuna that how actually we should surrender to Krishna. We got all this in this today's class about bhakti. So all right, with that concluding section, it's already 8:37. I apologize to take your time for another 7 minutes. Thank you very much for tolerating myself. Yeah, so next class we will start with Karma Yoga, chapter number 3. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyacha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.